Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. So I haven't done a Bible study video in a long time, and that is something that I'm working on correcting. For those of you that are new, on occasion, I do one on a Saturday. Normally, that's a day that I don't make a video, but I do occasionally make Bible study videos that are demonetized just for kind of that spiritual growth. And so today is one of them. What I'm going to say is unfortunately probably going to be controversial, but you know, a lot that's in the good book is controversial, at least by today's standards. In fact, pretty much all of it is. But this is something that we need to hear. And I'm not necessarily attacking anyone, because a lot of what I'm saying to myself, because we all need to hear this, but very specifically men, we need to hear this. Men need to stand up and be men. And it is right in the Bible. It tells us this. It tells us this from cover to cover. There are multiple places in the Bible where it talks about what it means to be a man, what a man's role is in his family, in his home, in his community. And my argument is that many of the problems, if not all the problems that we see in today's world are because men have not stood up for generations now and taken on the role that was given to them by the Father. I understand that there's a lot of problems. We talk about those problems almost every day on here throughout the week. We talk about why we should be prepared because of all these problems. But I believe in my heart that one of the core central reasons as to why these problems exist is because men have forsaken their role from the Creator that He designed us to be. Men have walked away from that. And because of that, over a few generations, we are left with the world that we live in. I want to turn to a verse in 1 Corinthians. Some of you probably already know what I'm going to say. It's in the very last chapter of 16. It's verses 13 and 14. Be watchful. Stand firm in the faith. He's talking to men in this. Act like men. Be strong. I'm going to read that first verse again. And he's speaking directly to men. Be watchful. Be alert. Be aware of what's going on. Be watchful. That is part of your role, is to be on alert of what is out there. Why would you be watchful? Well, you would be watchful because of attack. Physical attack, spiritual attack. That's what part of your role is, to be watchful. Be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Be on alert at all times, because you in your family are a target. You are a target spiritually, most importantly, but you can also be a target physically. Be alert and be watchful is what it's saying. Stand firm in the faith. Men, it is our job to be the spiritual leaders in the home, not anyone else's. It doesn't mean that a woman, that your wife, or that your children cannot at times take on a role of leadership and suggest or mention or guide the family in certain things, but it is your responsibility in the end. The buck stops with you when it comes to the faith of the home. This is the controversial part, especially in today's world. Act like men. Act like men. This is something that I don't even have to go deep into. In a modern America, modern Western world, but especially in America, it's not just out of style, it's taboo, it's considered, hateful and wrong even to just act like a man. It's an absolute crazy turnaround, flipped upside down world when all we have to do is just act like we were designed and created to be. Act like men. Be strong. And I believe personally that this is also talking about physical, and maybe even this part is talking about a physical, because it's already stated to be stand firm in your faith. So it's talking about the spiritual strength already. And now it's saying be strong. Now I understand that some men are much stronger than others, but it doesn't mean that you cannot have a certain level of strength, courage, strength, physical strength, mental strength. Be strong. Now let's get to that second verse, because if you just read this first verse, it may sound like a man is just supposed to be this mean, tough, big, bad guy. Second verse says, let all that you do be done in love. Let all that you do be done in love. I've said it on this channel before several times, and I say it in person all the time. We live in a world where it's almost like there's only two options of being a man. You can be that's acceptable. You can be an over-feminized, weak, frail, delicate, man, and that's acceptable. Or you can be this brutish, over-the-top, knuckle-dragging, grunting, completely void of compassion and understanding man. And that's what's considered the only two exceptions, or the only two options for being a man in today's world. And yet that absolutely is not what being a man is. Being a man is being strong, is being of good courage, strong in the faith, accepting of the role of leadership in your home. But you also do it from a loving spirit. You do it with love, with compassion, with understanding. It's a balance of the two. I've taught my kids, especially my boys, that the world is going to tell you that it's easy to be a man. It's easy to be a man. But to be a real man, it's actually difficult, because you have to balance. You have to be able to pull out of yourself that violence and that aggression at the times that you need to defend your family. And it may happen, and it has happened to many people throughout history, where a man has to go out. And even in today, we saw this week, people that were killed in action. They at times have to pull that violence, that aggression out of them, and to use it for good. But you also need to balance that with compassion and understanding, and sometimes even to be delicate when maybe dealing with a child or someone that is going through hurt, or your spouse at times. When I say all this, and I'm directing all of this at men, don't for 1 minute think that I don't think a woman, bears any responsibility, or that I think that a man is superior to a woman. I know that there are men that do that, and they think that a man is far superior, and that the woman is, to just bow down at his feet. I don't prescribe to that at all. So don't mistake my words for that. What I am saying is that we live in a messed up world, and it's getting worse. And I believe in all my heart that a big part of why this world is getting the way it is, why America is going down the path that it has gone down, is because for the last few generations, men have walked away from their role. They have walked away from the role in the family, of being the spiritual leader, of being the strength in the family, of standing up to evil and immorality and teaching it to their children. When their sons act inappropriately, or say or do things that are inappropriate or disobedient or wrong, they sit back and they allow it. If you look at statistically in homes, that most homes now, or many homes in America, don't even have a father figure in them. And the ones that do, typically the mother is the disciplinary in the home. And if the home has any kind of, godly spiritual leadership, it's typically the mother that does that. And it's because the man has walked away from that. When your daughters come out of the room dressed inappropriately, or they act in an inappropriate manner because they're trying to emulate what's going on in the world, it's the husband and the father and the man of the home, his job to correct that and to set them straight and to compassionately and lovingly explain to them why this is inappropriate. When your family starts to go off course, when your family starts to follow a path that is wrong and immoral and unjust and just pure evil, it is the husband's role, the man's role, the father's role to keep that on track. And the man has completely walked away from those responsibilities now for a long time. It's more fun to sit around watching sports, or to go and do tough manly things, or to bounce around from woman to woman, to fulfill themselves with all the immoralities of this world, and to completely walk away from the role that the Father in heaven created and gave directly to a man. We are to be the guides of our family. We are to, I don't believe necessarily rule over, especially not with an iron fist, but to guide, to lead, to show the family through example how we're supposed to behave, how we're supposed to act, the direction that we're supposed to be in. It should be the man that sits down with the family and says, hey guys, it's time to open the book and read from it. It's time to get on our knees in prayer. It should be the man's role. And it hasn't been in most families for a very, very long time. And we can look around and we can see what's going on. We can see what's happening in our world. And you'll never convince me otherwise that the vast majority of the problems, political, financial, moral, everything that's going wrong, is because there are no longer any real strong men to stand up and to accept that role of leadership, whether it's in their home, in their community, in their government. I was speaking to someone just the other day, and I said, the big problem is, with everything that's going on in the world today, whether it's political, things going on in the family, is that there's this vast vacuum of leadership everywhere. So many homes don't have a father role in them, and even if they do, like I said, many of them just, turn their back on their duties as a man in the home. There's no real leadership in communities anymore, or in government anymore. Of when I say leadership, I mean good, strong leadership, strong in faith, alert, watchful, and people that act like men and that lead like a man, like a godly man. This is a big problem, and it's a problem on whatever side of the aisle you may choose, or wherever you find your faith, is this lack, this vacuum of real leadership. Men, it's time to stand up. It's time to be men. To be men and lead your home, lead your family, your wives, your children, to lead your family, but to do it from a loving spirit. Not to come in and say, I'm the man, you should now bow down and kiss my feet and do everything that I say. We should lead by example. If you, as a man in your home, as a husband in your home, as a father in your home, start doing the things that you're supposed to do according to the Bible, according to His Word, you'd be surprised how this whole atmosphere of your home will start to change. Be a man. It's time to man up, men, and take on your role, your God-given role. Quit walking away from it. Quit ignoring it. Quit denying it. Take on that leadership role and lead by example, and lead your homes back to the moral and spiritual direction that it was meant to go. Thank you all for watching. Catch you in the next video.